How are you? Hello, hello. I'm happy to be here. I've had such an interesting morning. I woke up this morning. Actually, yesterday I went to my friend's house. And when I got there, she was watching a podcast, Diary of a CEO. And it had Thierry Henry on it. And I like Thierry Henry. I like him. His football was good. Not saying, and I support Arsenal, one of the teams. So all good in the hood. But I like him. And this was like a different side of him that he was expressing. It was, whoa, Thierry. It was so nice. And it made my mind was like, it had all this stuff going on because one of the things that he was talking about was the way that his dad was very hard on him, and he spoke about affection and the way he received love. And for me, it was all the Queen. As I'm listening to him, all I'm seeing is the Queen, because everything for me relates to numbers. I know the Queen is not a number, but for me it is. It's a 1. And because there's 6 ones for me, they appear differently within us, or we react differently with each of the ones. So he was a queen. And as he spoke, I realised he's not just a queen, he's also a bit of a jack. So I discovered that he's like this light worker, and it led me to all these questions about ego, higher self, how they work together, how they don't. It was very interesting, because I like thinking about the ego. I it's all ego. And this morning I was having a conversation with myself, and I heard myself saying, my cards. And I had to stop myself. It was like, my cards, are they my cards? Number one, I did not design these cards, so in none of the design is it mine. Hello. And number two, I mean, even the messages that come through, they didn't come from me, they came from consciousness that gave me the messages to give you through the cards. So when I say mine, it's like, but are they really mine? And it's like, is this my ego saying mine, or is this, or it was like a big debate going on inside of myself. And ego is not something I see as bad. It's something that I see that we grow and learn from. But it was interesting because I kind of saw ego in quite a different way to how I have experienced ego or seen it. And that interesting new perspective way of seeing it, I'm going to sit with it a bit more before I share what I got to. But it was really nice. I am here today to do some energy readings. So please feel free to comment so I can come to you. Welcome to Spiritual Bridge. My name is Bridgitte. I'm from the UK. I live in sunny Spain. It is gloriously sunny today, as it was yesterday. Yesterday, I was sitting outside on my veranda and I was like, whoa, it's hot. It's hot. And I mean, it's winter, so you can see the way I'm dressed. It's not hot like that. But as I was sitting on my veranda and the sun was just on my face, it was, whoa, this is nice. I said, you know what? Let me get myself down to the beach. Normally I would just go straight to work from home, but I was like, nah, I'm not going straight to work from home. I'm going to the beach. And I sat on the beach, and it was just the sun on me. It was just glorious. Glorious. So glorious. Yeah, it was glorious. Hey, Levi, or Levy. Not sure which one. Levi, I will say Levi. How you doing? How's your day going? Hello, anybody else that's here? Where are you guys from? Let's see where in the world I am today. I like traveling around the world, whether it's virtual or physical. It doesn't matter. I like traveling around the world. It's all good. I love it. It's my best thing in the world, traveling. Trying new foods, meeting new people, experiencing new cultures. It's really nice. It helps us so much to grow and learn and understand ourselves and other people. It's great. So if you get the chance, guys, I would advise you to watch this Diary of a CEO with Thierry Henry, because it was really interesting. He's doing a really good job of discovering himself, of finding out who he is, of weaknesses, of strengths, of how he can better himself. And it's all through looking at his emotions and mindset. So it was great. And he's kind of, well, he said since COVID it's been going on. So that's 4 years. So he's definitely on the path. And it's really interesting. I like how it connects to all the cards. That's what I like. Bye, Levi. Have a good day. If anybody is here to have a reading, please comment so that I know. It'd be nice to know where you're from as well. Like I said, where we are in the world today. I think I'll start with a collective reading while I'm waiting for any of you to comment. Any of you. We can start with a collective. Hey Sarah, how you doing? So I was just talking about the Diary of a CEO. I just watched one this morning with Thierry Henry, the footballer. And it was really nice. He's also a queen. He is a queen. Well, he was actually a queen and an ace. He's experiencing the ace as well. But he's definitely a queen. I was like, ooh, look at that. Thierry Henry is a queen. He is a queen. How are you doing? That was really funny with the pick a card the other day. No, your message. Lasro, you're from Indonesia. Nice. Indonesia. I know the name, but I don't know anything about Indonesia. That's definitely a place that is on the list. Southeast Asia is on the list, really. All of it. I don't just want to go to one place. It's like once I'm there, I want to explore and go to all of the places that are around. All of them. The place that's calling me, it's always called me as well. The ear, yeah, that was funny, Sarah. The place there's two places actually that have been calling me since I've been a child. One of them is Venezuela. I don't know why. I know people from Venezuela now, but I didn't ever, as a child, I never knew anyone from Venezuela. But it was somewhere that was Bridgitte, I'm here. And also Cambodia. And I don't know what they have for me. I don't know why they're calling me, but I'll see when I get there, won't I? It will be interesting once I get there to see what unfolds in front of me. I am here to do energy readings. If you would like a reading, please feel free to comment so I can come to you and give you an energy reading, because that's what I'm here for. That's what I've come on today for. One of the conversations I had about, after watching this Thierry Henry video, one of the conversations I had with myself was about my hair. It was such an interesting, my conversations with myself, I always find them really interesting. What are you doing? Let's wrote, these are calabash messages. They're just little notes in the calabash. This is called a calabash. They're little notes in the calabash. This has a number. But it has names, songs, quotes, and I didn't see your comment, Abhishek. I'm seeing your comment now for the first time. But this is It's full of names, songs, quotes, and messages, and I'm just refolding them to make sure that they're shut, because I like it when they're shut. So while I'm here, I'm just fluffing around with them. So, but I am here to do some readings, so that is what I'm doing. I'm just waiting for someone to volunteer themselves. Gracefully volunteer themselves. Yeah, one of the things that my conversations after watching this show was about hair. Redo, Abhishek. Okay. It was about hair and the importance of hair, but I think I'm going to make a video about that as well because it was such an interesting conversation. Very interesting conversation. And anyone that knows me has known me for a while anyway, knows me with for long hair, bald head, bald like this, and all the ways in between. So hair has been a very interesting part of my journey. Okay, Abhishek, isn't it? Shek, not shake. Abhishek. Oh, look at the time, 13:13. Oh, that's nice. 448. 33, 11. Wow. Abhishek. That's really nice. All right, let's see. Let's see what messages come out for you. Abhishek. Abhishek, because this time it's like it's got my attention. It's really got my attention. Hey, Eric. And Eric. I'm saying your name like a Spanish. Hey, Eric. Hey, Deanne. Thank you very much for your positive love and light. Very beautiful. I receive it very openly. Thank you. I'm back at you. Abhishek, because I'm seeing 13:13, I kind of have some messages already coming through because it was as I was saying your name, I looked up and saw the time, and that for me is relevant. It's very interesting as well because I caught a similar time. It's the same numbers that I caught the other day, but it was 11:33. But that's how I'm going to read it for you, as well as the 13, as well as the 4. I might not even need the cards. So the 11 is a message of you're on the right path, you're being guided. But the 33 is you're being guided, is that you have spirit, ancestors, spiritual help with you on your path. Spirits, ancestors, archangels, whatever it is, anything on the other side. And then the 11 is the help that they're giving you, the support that they're giving you. They're letting you know you're on the right path. You're healing as you're on your path. So 11:33, that's that. And then 3 for me, because I have to break it down, is all about you being authentic to you. The fact that I'm seeing 13:13, I feel like there's something, because a 1 for me, the number 1, is our roots. It's who we are intrinsically. It's, well, as humans anyway, it's our ego. It's the part of ourselves that, who we believe ourselves to be, our identity, their self-beliefs, whether we can do something, whether we can't do something, whether we're good enough for something, whether we look good enough for whatever it is. But it's all about self and the idea of self. So that's the 1. I'm not sure at this moment what that 1 is, what part of self that 1 is. You've got 2 1s as well. At this moment, I'm going to wait until it shows itself because there are 6 1s for me. And then the 3 is about you. Yeah. The 3 is about you being authentic to self. So the 1 is your human self, your thoughts, your beliefs, your perspective, who you believe yourself to be. The 2, which is not there, but I'm going to explain it just so you understand the process. So the 1 is your human self, your beliefs about self, your beliefs about your world, your environment. The 2 is your energetic self, your higher self, your God self, your love self, the self that has no judgment, the self that is connected to everything, the self that, well, it's not self, is it? Because it's everything. It's part of everything. So there isn't really a self involved in it. Although we call it higher self, it's still part of everything. So the 3 is, the 1 is the human self, the 2 is the energetic self, and the 3, is part of everything. Part of everything, but it's all right. We see things differently. The 3 is the 2 coming together. It's the higher self and the energetic self. I have working together to be able to bring in creativity, to be able to bring, hey, bye Lasso, to bring in creativity, to bring in inspiration. And that's what the 3 is about. It's about you connecting to source energy. That's okay, Vishu. It's about connecting to source energy and about your physical self being able to bring into the physical world these creations, because that's what we're here for, to create. So if there's a 1 that you're struggling with, and that you do have a 1, so if there's a 1 that you're struggling with and you're getting to the 3, there's something stopping you from being able to move with your inspiration. There's something stopping you from Vishu, you're very interesting. You're very interesting. Thank you for your advice. Yeah, so the 3 is your bad habits. It's not necessarily bad habits. It's habits. It's habits that are not necessarily serving you, but I wouldn't call them bad, because that implies that you're doing something wrong. And I don't believe that there is right or wrong. I believe that everything that we're doing is moving us somewhere. And what most of us are working to do is work towards feeling better, living better, feeling happier, moving towards light. So the 3 is about you being able to be your authentic self, to be your authentic, bye Vishu, to be your authentic self and to allow the creations to come out of you. I can tell you, so one of the ones could be, I'll give you an example. One of the ones could be, you're somebody, the 3 generally is somebody that doesn't quite fit in, doesn't feel like they fit in, doesn't feel like they're really part of anything. They feel like they're always on the outside. They're kind of like, you want to be able to fit in with people, but it's kind of like, but you're different, and you know you're different. People don't see you like them. They see you differently. And it is because you're different. And it's you really allowing yourself to be different without worrying about what other people's judgments are. So what the 1 could be for you, I'll use a couple of examples. If it was the Queen, it would be that you're a people pleaser. And because you're a people pleaser, you'd rather do what they want you to do. You'd rather act in a way that they feel comfortable with you acting than with you being true to yourself. That would be the Queen, because she needs validation. So if you come up with an idea or inspiration that other people are not validating, you're not likely to move with that inspiration, because the Queen needs validation. She doesn't need it, but she thinks she does need it. When she's in trauma, she thinks she needs validation. It could be the Jack, and the Jack is somebody that you'll know what it is for yourself, but I'll give you the examples so you know what to connect to within yourself, or where it is that you're struggling within yourself. The Jack is somebody that doesn't have any self-esteem. There's a lack of, the inner bully is really rampant. So there's a lack of nurturing to self, a lack of love towards self. So The Jack is somebody that's very given outwardly, but to self, they're the bully. So they don't have confidence. They're a perfectionist. They never believe they're good enough. So let's say you felt inspired to, just gonna give you an example. You felt inspired to do a painting, but you don't believe that no one's ever going to, you don't believe the painting's going to be good enough. It doesn't even matter about anybody else, because with the Jack, it's whether you believe it's good enough. So they're a bit different. The Queen is wanting other people to validate them, but the Jack, even if other people validate you, it's still not enough because you are not validating you. It's a bit similar to the Queen in that the Queen is not validating itself. But if somebody validates the Queen, she'll feel good. The Jack won't feel good. It's very different in that way. So it could be one of these. It's more likely to be one of these than anything else. So it's about you really offering yourself what you need, the validation in whichever one it's coming from, the Queen or the Jack, offering that to yourself so that you're able to walk in these inspired moments, these genius moments, these pop-ins that come into your mind, and be able to bring them into the world. Once you've done this free, that you're allowing your creativity to come out, there's a decision that you'll make, because that's the 4. 1 and 3 is 4. There's a decision that you make. And that decision, it doesn't have to be a big decision. It doesn't even have to be you that instigates something. Let's say, for example, you have a job and you don't particularly like the job and you want to leave. That's you instigating that. But it could be that you have a job and your boss lays you off. That's not you instigating it, but it's a decision that you have to walk forward with. So whatever the 4 is for you, there is something that is, there's a decision to take, or that you've made. It's not to take. You've already taken the action, because the 4's already there. See, oh, that's interesting. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 now. So you've already taken the action. And now there's this part of you that isn't confident about the action that you've taken. So your 1 is showing up again, is showing you that either there's a lack of confidence in you, a lack of validation within you. There's something that you're not giving yourself at this moment that is leading you to doubt the action that you've taken. And the action that you took, because a 4 for me is, the action for me, the 4 is is an action that is going to move you to a manifestation. And it's about trusting in that manifestation, trusting in why you took that action, and trusting in where you're going. That brings you to the 8, because 13 and 13 is 8. That is the manifestation. You're being led to somewhere through the action that you take, with the creativity and the authenticity that you're allowing to come out of you. It's leading you to a manifestation. It's trusting yourself that it's leading you there. I hope that made sense, Abhishek. You're a people pleaser. Hey, Rhonda. Currently, you know what you want. It's not about knowing what we want, though. We can know what we want, but that doesn't mean that we are doing the things, or our energy is in a place of belief. We can know what we want, but it doesn't mean that we're in the energy of knowing what we want. Sometimes we can know what we want, but we don't believe we're going to get what we want. And that's different. Knowing what you want and believing that what you want is coming to you are 2 different things, no? But if you feel that you know what you want, and you're walking towards what you want, and you're trusting what you want, and that's what your mission is, great job. Great job. Great job. You're sure. It's nice when you know what you want. Just have faith as you walk along. You think you're going to get it, but it's going to take some time. Time is not a bad thing. When things take time, when things come quickly, they generally leave quickly. When things take time to come, they generally stay with us longer. So it's about planting the foundations for the things that you want. You're being impatient, but the impatience is doubt, though, because if there's faith, we're not impatient. Time will always pass by, but depending on what energy we are as the time is passing, depends on how quickly we're attracting. So impatience is a frustrated energy. It's like the 7. It's what comes before the 8, which is what I told you. Your manifestation is coming because you have an 8 within 1313. There is an 8. But the number 7 is perseverance and patience. The perseverance you're good at, putting the energy into what you want. But you don't necessarily trust that what you want is coming because you're not necessarily seeing the physical evidence of it, which is the problem with the 4 as well. That's why it doesn't necessarily believe that what it wants is coming. But it's about you believing that what you want is coming, whether you can see the physical evidence of it or not. And generally, we do see the physical evidence of things that are coming, but not necessarily as we want them to. It could be, let's say, for example, you really want a car and you'll keep seeing that car everywhere. For me, that's the universe showing you that it's on your path. It might not be on your path tomorrow or the next day or the next year, but it's on your path. There is nothing to achieve and nothing to lose. Trust, Abhishek, trust. You're in a frustrated energy of I don't know if he's coming. It's about trusting. There's the 7 is one of them places that when people are there, it's one of them ones that they either give up or they hold on, and that's when it comes. But a lot of people give up before it comes because they just don't have the faith to trust in what's coming for them. The brain always looks for patterns. That's why it always sees a lot of similar cars. The brain does always look for patterns. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I also feel that the universe is constantly talking to us because I'm shown that all the time, the universe is always talking. And it doesn't have words that it's able to speak to us through. So, well, if it's speaking through somebody, there's words. But outside of that, just in every moment, it's about being aware of what's around you. And when you say you want something, the universe will let you know it's heard you. And that is by showing you it. This is my understanding. It's my experiences. I'm not trying to convince anybody, or I'm not wanting to convince anybody here of anything that isn't true for them. But through my experience, that's what it's called. That's what happens. Law of attraction, manifestation, everything is stupid. Vishu, you're very interesting. That's called meditation. The universe is always preparing you. It's always preparing you. It's always bringing on anybody's path. The universe is putting in the things that you need the tools. It's putting in the experiences that will give you the tools as you continue to walk along your path. And these tools, if you're collecting them along the way, you'll be able to use them along the way. But some people don't collect them along the way, and they have to collect it further down the line. It's all the journey, isn't it? There's no wrong or right, but you're just collecting the tools along the way and trusting that you have the tools to be able to get to where you want to be, and that you're being supplied what you need to get to where you want to get to. Because a lot of life is about trust. It's about trust. It's about being open. It's about being open to receive as well. Because for example, the Jack, which is one of the ones I explained to you for the one, the Jack struggles to receive because it does not believe it's worthy enough. So even though it will do all the work possible for itself, because it is a perfectionist, so it's very pedantic, the Jack, it will do what it can to make everything perfect, but it still won't believe in its work. So although it's doing everything it can, that no belief in itself or its work that it's done is not attracting the Jack to be able to receive, because it doesn't believe it's worthy and deserving of receiving. I had this conversation with myself the other day. It wasn't about dinosaurs as such, but it was just about life as a whole and how things are created and where did it come from. It was a very interesting conversation. That's a very interesting question. Life is really messed up when you're looking at problems, when you're looking at wanting solutions that you don't have answers to, when you're looking to control something that we have no control over. But when you focus on you, how you feel, what you're bringing into your world, the world looks different. How you feel about it changes as well. Do I believe our lives, this is a very interesting question, Eric. Do I believe our lives are predestined, like who you meet, things that we do, our purpose? Is it all predestined? Seeing from outer perspective is a great thing. That's what we want to do. We don't want to just see one perspective. We want to be able to see like a bird's eye perspective, see everything. Because when you see everything, you don't get lost in, but this is happening and this is the only, it's like only one thing is coming out of this. I feel bad and that's it. No, there's a lot. We learn a lot, especially the difficult things. We learn more from the difficult things. There is nothing to gain in this life. Eric, I'm coming back to you. You answered really right. Do you believe our lives are predestined? Like who you meet, things that we do, our purpose. Is it all predestined? It's like a free will question, isn't it? A little bit. Because that's like, do we have free will then? If things are destined or predestined, it means that we don't have free will. But if they're not predestined, then we have free will. I don't necessarily believe in free will. It's one of them discussions I've had a lot with myself. I've watched a couple of people talking about it as well. Just hearing different ideas, different perspectives on it. And I've come to my own place at this moment because we're always changing. So, I mean, ideas, beliefs can change. I'm not stuck and rigid in who Bridgitte believes herself to be at this moment. But I agree with you, Rhonda. Free will is an illusion. I agree. I don't believe in free will. I think that we're such creatures of habit. Our subconscious is such a big part of what dictates what we do, how we do it, what we eat, when we eat it. It plays such a big part in us that I don't know that we actually have free will. It's like, all right, I go to the supermarket and they've got all these choices of ice cream or chocolate. I like chocolate. So they've got all these choices of chocolate. And I have free will to choose any of those chocolates that I want to. But am I going to choose any of them? Am I going to decide that, no, I want this one? No, generally I won't. I'll choose the same one every time. If I go and buy anything from the supermarket, generally I buy the same thing all the time. And that, I think that's the majority of people, that you think that, well, I had the option because I could have bought strawberry ice cream, or I could have bought mint chocolate chip ice cream, or I could have bought this ice cream. You could have, but the likelihood of you doing that is not so high. So I don't believe in free will, because it's like, if the likelihood of you doing anything outside of what you always do, it is such a slim margin. Free will is for the ones that have a great willpower. It's not about willpower, is it? It's about not being caught in your own kind of beliefs of who you are, what you like, and being able to have be more expansive. But even then, you're still likely to have flavors that you prefer more than others, people you prefer more than others, certain traits that people have you prefer more than others. We're always kind of attracted to certain things, and that's because of ego. It's because of who we are, our own beliefs inside ourselves. So that is kind of the free will, that I am different to you, you are different to this person, that person's different to this person, because we have our own belief system about ourselves. But even within that own belief system about ourselves, yes, it means my free will is different to your free will, but it's still the same thing. It's not really free will, is it? You also don't believe in karma. I believe in karma, but I did a lot of work around, well, I didn't do a lot of work. I was shown a lot of things around karma some years ago. And what I was shown was, wait, let me see what you've said. Yeah, that's what I thought. We are creatures of habits. Humans always repeat patterns, yeah. Wouldn't they know what we're already going to do? Yeah. Right, so karma is an interesting one. Karma, I believe, only happens if someone is holding on to the emotion. Otherwise, I don't believe it continues. So, for example, I'll give you a real life example. So I had an experience. I went to one shop one time and I bought, I think it was a pair of boots or shoes or something. And while I was in the shop, I paid for the shoes and the person gave me back my change. Before I left the shop, I noticed that the person had given me more money, more change than than she was meant to. And I debated with myself, and the good and the bad, or yeah. So I debated with myself. She's giving me extra money. Should I give it back to her, or is her mistake? Let me thank you God and go about my business. That's what I decided to do. I left the shop and with my shoes, with the money, I felt guilty. And because I know it's wrong, I'm not a thief. So, and that is stealing. Although it wasn't an intentional thing, I knew before I left the shop that what I was doing was wrong. So that same week, I think she gave me an extra £5. That same week, I went to work and I left my coat and my purse where I always leave it. And some kids come into the surgery that I worked at and stole my purse. My purse had all my little pictures and cards that people had given me, all these personal little things that I really loved and that I'd had for years and that were like really sentimental value to me. And I had £5 in my purse and my purse was stolen. And I was like, well, what do you expect, Bridgitte? You knew that you had stolen that money, whether it wasn't intentional, because I knew that I was taking it. And it was, for me, that was karma. I believe that because I knew I had done something wrong and I held on to that feeling of having done something wrong, it sent out that reaction towards me. The same amount of money that was given to me was taken, but I lost something more than just the money. I lost my personal things. That wasn't nice. Another time I went into the shop after this, and the person gave me, I think it was like a tenner extra money, and I was like, yeah, nice one. And as I walked out the shop and I noticed, I went straight back into the shop and said, hey, and gave the woman her money. And she was like, wow, that's so honest of you. I said, yeah, I've not always been this way, but I learnt my lesson. I'm never going to do that again because I know it's wrong. And when you know something's wrong and you move towards that thing that you know is wrong, the guilt that we feel inside of us is what creates the karma. That's my belief, and that's because of the experiences that I've had with karma. I think that if somebody does something bad, what we perceive as bad, which is a judgment in itself, but if we believe someone has done something bad, you know that saying, don't worry about them, something bad will happen to them, the karma will get to them. But if they don't believe they did something bad, I don't believe karma will get to them. I think it's something that happens because of your own beliefs within yourself. I think that's what everything is about us. How we believe about something is what affects our own world. You believe in karma, good and bad. Yes, you've seen a lot of synchronicities. I don't believe so, Eric. I don't believe so. But if you know differently, then let me know. So maybe that will change something. But you definitely receive the energy you give. Definitely, you receive the energy you give. Because, I mean, we're all frequency. So we're all moving with frequency. So, I mean, we're definitely attracting what we give out. But I think that guilt is something that we hold on to. Shame is something that we hold on to. These kind of emotions that we can hold on to, I feel are something that they're sending out this energy into the universe and we're receiving back because we feel guilty. It's like, but sometimes there isn't anything even to feel guilty about. Sometimes it's just letting go of you having done this so you learn your lesson to move on. Yeah, because it's like the idea of making mistakes. We don't really make mistakes. We're growing. It's like a child that's learning. We're just big children that are learning. We're all learning. Karma is determined by the mentality behind the action. A doctor uses a knife to do surgery and cuts you open to save you. And a mugger will stab you to death to steal. Who is going to be punished here? It depends on who holds the... I don't believe that I don't believe it's in the action. I believe it's in how the person feels in taking that action. It's a good example, though. It's about intentions. Your intention could be good or bad. It depends on whether you hold on to a guilt about that, though. Because let's say somebody stabs somebody else. That's not a good intention. Or it's not perceived as a good intention. But is it a good intention for the person that stabbed? Why did they stab that person? What was going on in them that created that situation? So do they now feel guilty about taking that action? And if they don't, I don't believe that anything would happen. It's an interesting thing because I've always believed you do something wrong, it will always come back to you. I've actually got my thing here, look. I bought this years ago because I always used to say, if you do something bad, badness will always come back to you. It will always come back to you. And when I went to Dominique, I bought this. The righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. Because I'd always said that when you do something wrong, wrong will come back to you. If you do something good, good will come back to you. And then I saw this, that I'd never heard it before. And then I saw this, I was like, this is what I say. This is what I say. And I found it so nice. But I'm not sure, because my experiences, they're showing me different things to what I grew up believing. Age old tale, yeah. I think we can grow up believing something, but our experiences have to teach us something. And my experiences are teaching me different things to what I was taught. It makes sense, because you have people that do bad things and don't have remorse and nothing bad happens to them. Yeah. So I believe, and I've also come to an understanding that everything starts with ourselves. Everything starts with ourselves. So, and karma, because everything for me starts with ourselves, karma is your karma. It's not attached to anybody else. So if somebody does something to you, it's not because they did something to you and you're feeling bad about them that something's going to happen to them. They have to feel the bad, not you. And when we feel the bad, we're holding on to that karma. We're holding on to that negative energy. Our focus is this negative place, which is not helpful to us. It's like it takes you out of your own loving place, being focused on somebody else that has done something bad. You think karma does catch up to them eventually? I think that when you do something that is perceived as bad, at some point in time, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I mean, if I do something that I believe is not good, then I don't feel good. But I know people that do things that I perceive as not necessarily the best thing in the world, but they think it is. So our different perspectives create a lot of different ideas within us of what is right and wrong. That's why right and wrong is such an interesting debate, isn't it? Because right and wrong is one of them things of, it's like the idea of killing somebody. The idea of killing somebody is horrible. Who wants to? No, but if somebody was attacking me, and my intention would never be to kill somebody, but if I did kill somebody, I'd feel guilty about that. I can't even remember what I was saying, but I would feel guilty about that. I can't imagine doing something like that and not feeling guilty about it, even if it was in self-defense, even if it wasn't my intention. But I think that some people just don't get to that place, or they're not ready for that kind of understanding within themselves. But I'm like you. I think that at some point in time, you have to deal with it. But I'm not sure that you have to deal with it in the life that you're in, because I believe in reincarnation, and these types of people that will do these types of things, what we consider to be bad or evil, I think of them as younger souls. I think of them as people that don't know any better. They're like babies. Although we're seeing adults, I think of them as babies. They don't know any better. They haven't learned. They haven't connected to their energetic self yet. They're still really absorbed in their human self. And human self, for me, is a low vibration. It's low. It is low. We have so many emotions and so many thoughts that are always, or have the potential to always be pulling us down. And it's something that we have to really kind of consciously work on to overcome these thoughts, especially when you're in the momentum of a negative thought. It will lead you down one big rabbit hole of negativity. So I think because we're in a low energy on Earth, we're always battling with the contrast. That's what we're here to experience. Now, we're always battling with this contrast. And I think that contrast is a really important thing for us, because it's what teaches us light. But I think some people, they've come here and they're like I said, they're newer to Earth. They're in that dense energy that they're not able to maneuver themselves around as well as somebody that has been here longer. And I don't mean in this lifetime, because we're here lots of lifetimes. We keep coming back. So in the lifetimes that we come, we're learning more and more and more, getting more and more experience. We end up being higher in energy than somebody that is a newer soul that's come to Earth. So I think that there's lots of things that are involved in how we process things on Earth, how we experience life, the emotions that we experience, how we overcome them, whether we can overcome them. Yeah, it's really nice, Tia. I love chatting, and you're also chatty today. It's really nice. Really nice. Cycle will continue until you learn the lesson. Yeah, definitely. I do believe that as well. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah, I believe that we're all on spirals, actually. The way that I read the cards as well, that's what has been taught to me, that we're on a spiral. But I do believe that there are cycles that we get lost in that kind of keep us on hold for a little while until we've learnt that lesson to be able to continue on the spiral. And a lot of that for me has to do with the number 9, our emotions, whether we're able to let go of things, our memories, pains, hurts, traumas, and whether we're able to let go of them. That's the biggest disturber, I think, of us as humans. You believe the universe will balance itself out, yin and yang. I believe the universe is balanced because it's the universe. I don't believe that we are, as humans. Some of us are, but I'm at some points of time, some of us are, but I don't believe we generally are as humans, because like I said, we're in a denser place, we're in a heavier frequency. And for us, we have to do work to be light. We have to do a bit more work to get to a place of sharing light, of being the love that we are. So I do feel it's harder for us, but the universe, I feel, is in perfect unison. It's perfection. The universe is perfection. Even we, in what we experience, are perfection, because in everything that we see, either in negative or positive, it's still expanding. Everything is always expanding. So much comes out of what we experience, and because we experience, it creates, and that's what we're here to do, create. So it's all good, no? Yes, that's called the intention behind karma. Self-defense is not as the same as intent to murder, no. But I think that you could still get caught up with, even if it wasn't your intention, you could still hold that same guilt as though it was your intention. It's a bit like, the other day, my best friend's mum passed. She had promised her mum that she would go to the hospital and that she would be with her mum when she passed. But her mum passed early in the morning. She wasn't at the hospital. So she felt, she now has this feeling of guilt that she wasn't at the hospital. Her intention was to be there. But I mean, there's sometimes things happen that you cannot be there. For me, this guilt doesn't make sense. But for her, it makes so much sense, because she's made this promise to somebody that she's going to be there. But I don't understand that guilt. So it's like just different perspective. Well, I do understand it, but it's just not somewhere that I would be, because guilt doesn't make sense to us. It's just so low. It's such a low energy. I've spent so much time in guilt. It's like, I'm not spending any more time in guilt. I do something, I don't like what I've done, I learn from that thing, and I move on. Because it's such a hard emotion to overcome. And because our ego, especially the inner bully part of the ego, is constantly telling us how crappy we are and how rubbish we are, that monologue will just continue until that guilt over it. For me, guilt is something that makes us sick. It makes the physical body sick, not just mentally, but your body sick. When we are not in balance, when we're overthinking, our body becomes sick. So my whole intention is, right, sort out your energy. Sort out your energy. Because if I'm not sorting out my energy, I am not healthy. Doesn't matter if I'm exercising or not exercising. I can be exercising and make my body healthy, but that doesn't mean that my mind and my emotions are healthy. So it's about putting everything together and working your way through all of these negative ideas or beliefs about self, all of these guilt, shame, not feeling good enough, all of this, and kind of putting it into a bubble that you're able to look at it so that you can start seeing yourself in a different way. Because if you're only seeing through these eyes, for me, that is sickness. And I don't want to be sick. I want to live healthily. I don't want to have sicknesses in my life or the people around me to be sick. So my whole intention is to let go, let go like a leaf falling off the tree in autumn. Just let go. Earlier I was talking about my hair. I had a little conversation. Well, I didn't express it. I said I'll make a video about it. But I was talking about my hair. That was something I had to let go of, my hair. There was a point in that I got alopecia and my hair had always been really long, really thick. It was like, I mean, I was raised in, at the time that, still maybe like that, but at the time that I was raised, it was more that your hair is like your beauty, as a woman especially. Without hair, it's like you're nothing. You're not pretty. You're who are you? You, or you're sick. And then I got alopecia and lost all my hair, and that transition of not having hair and wanting hair and getting used to not having hair, it was really difficult, and I felt really bad and crap. And then I realized that it's just nothingness. It's like, it's a nothingness. There was a lot of shame for not having hair and people looking at me all the time with my bald head. It was an odd experience, but it taught me a lot about how I perceive me and how other people perceive me and how I let go of things and how I can have the potential to hold on to things. But the holding on to things will always keep them things there. Do I want them there? No. So how do I let go of them? It's the acceptance of that they're there. We can't control everything. We can't control a lot of things. Now I'm speaking Hinduism. Vishnu, you've become my friend now. You were my frenemy to start. Now you're my friend. Do I read cards? Yeah, I don't read tarot though. I read the standard deck of cards because that's what universe... I was talking about the Queen. Look at the Queen. It was hiding underneath this. It didn't even come with this. And I was saying to you, Abhishek, who I'm talking to now as well, the synchronicities, don't you love them? I was saying about your one, what your one could be with the 1-3. The Queen is there. It was hidden underneath the box. When I picked up the cards, I didn't pick up the Queen. It remained there to show you now. I read the standard deck of cards. The universe gave me an understanding of how to read them. I read them with the understanding that I was given, with the explanations I was given, with the... with the understandings that I was given. And I also read the Show Me Me cards. These are based on energy animals that I see. I generally... Well, not anymore so much, but when I was younger, I would always see animals in people. When I looked at people, generally that's what I saw, an animal. I didn't really see people. I saw them as an animal. And I learned that the animal that I see people as is, it's like their energy. It represents who they are as a person, their insecurities, their strengths. It just shows me a lot about people. And I also use this, the calabash. It's full of names, songs, quotes, and energy animals. I have over 100 energy animals. My deck of cards has 19 animals. So the rest of them are in here. The names for me are keywords from, I think of them as keywords from spirit to pass on message. It could be a message of encouragement. It could be a message of how they passed. It could be, there's so many different ways that they speak, but I use the calabash as well. And that's how I read. I've not been drawn to, don't give her ideas. No, I'm not. About the yin and the yang, what's that? It's a way of coping in grief, yeah, a phrase. My accent is new. I live in Spain, but I'm not from Spain. I was born and grew up in England, London. My family embraces the same ideas about hair. Yeah, I had to get over my hair. If I didn't get over my hair, I wouldn't even be here. I had to get over it. And I worked in a dentist, so it meant that constantly throughout the day, we had new people coming in every 15 minutes, half an hour. There's someone new coming in. And I'd have to go to the reception to call them into the surgery. And I'd walk out with my bald head, bald like my forehead. And everybody was always shocked when they saw me. And it was me having to get over myself. It wasn't me having to get over their reaction to me, but me getting over myself of how they reacted. Because I understand their reaction. They're seeing a woman with a bald head. It's like, what's going on here? Are you all right? Because it's odd. It's not a normal thing. Especially at the time that I got alopecia, it was 2009, February 2009. And at that time, there weren't anybody really with their shaved heads. Now there's a bit. I'm seeing quite a few women now with shaved heads, and ooh, well done you. But it's not many women that will walk around like that. And I was kind of like the loner, which was all right because I had to deal with myself. It was one of the beginnings of dealing with myself. And now when I get ready, it's like, all right, what are we going to do with you today? My hair is kind of like, it's become an accessory rather than part of me, part of my identity. It's no longer part of my identity. It's more of an accessory for me. It is hard to let go of things, but it's what is really, one of the things that I am learning about with letting go of things is it really important to me? This particular thing that I'm holding on to with all of my might, so don't go. Is it really important to who I am now? Not to who I've been, to who I was, but to who I am now. Because who I am now is not the same person as who I was yesterday or the day before or a year ago or 10 years ago. We're constantly changing and evolving. And sometimes the things that we're holding on to so tightly are things from so long ago that we don't even care about them anymore. But we've got so used to the holding on to it that that's what we feel we're meant to continue to do with it. But it's like, but is it really important? Is it that important to continue to hold on to this? And I question myself constantly about things like that. What was the Rhonda? You said you do? What was the you do for? Sorry. Hey, Gabby. I don't not believe in tarot. I like tarot. I mean, I even watch, there's a couple of ladies that I really like their readings. They're just sensational. I really like listening to them. And it's because they're just light. They express themselves really well. and I listen to them, but I haven't been drawn to reading tarot cards. I haven't been drawn to reading oracle cards. They're just not, they haven't been part of my path yet so far. I don't know if they will be. I don't know what the future holds, but it's just not been part of my path. And even these cards that I use, look at that, the Jack. I spoke about the Queen and Jack, and then the ones that are showing themselves. It's so funny. These cards, like I said, I use my own explanations. When I first started using the standard deck of cards, somebody said to me, somebody came on a live and they told me that it's called cardomacy. And I was like, yeah, it's actually got a name. Wow. So I went online and I checked what cardomacy is. What is it? So I checked and it showed me, and it told me the messages for each card and what each thing represents. And it it's kind of, it makes sense, but it's just not how I've been shown. And I'm trusting what I've been given. I'm trusting my gift. I'm trusting the guidance that I receive and how I receive it. And that's what I keep walking through with. So after knowing that these were cardomacy, it didn't, like these cards, they were seen as people actually in your life. And I was, that's interesting, because for me, the cards are all about you specifically. They're all about you healing yourself, you looking in yourself to see how you're viewing things negatively, how you're viewing them positively, and keep walking towards the positive and having acceptance for the negative, because the negative isn't really negative. It's just for you to be able to see here, because without this, you wouldn't see here. It's like without light, you don't know dark. Without dark, you don't know light. And we all want to be in the light, so you need to know the dark. It's the acceptance of it to be able to receive what it is you're looking for. So one of my other friends, she bought me a book, numerology. And it was like, I've not read the book yet. I received it, I think for my birthday last year. I've still not read it. It's almost my birthday again. I've not read it though, because it's like, I don't know why I haven't read it. I feel like it's just not time for me yet to read it. I feel I'm still developing my own understandings of what I'm doing, of how I understand what I've been given. And I feel like sometimes other people's ideas don't necessarily have the best influence on us. Sometimes it adds something extra, and it can bring in a new way of being or thinking or seeing something, expanding something. But sometimes I think that we can, for example, this book in numerology, if I read it and it's not telling me anything, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it doesn't connect to what I read from my cards. Not to say that this is going to happen, but there is a potential that the Jack within myself, because I do experience the Jack is a lack of worth. I have experienced the Jack, which is a lack of worth. I have experienced the Queen, which is lack of validation. So it could be that I read somebody else's ideas of what these numbers are, and then it starts leading me to doubt my own numbers, how I read them, how I've been given them. And I'm not, although I have complete faith in the numbers, I love my numbers and there is no doubt, but I don't want there to be any doubt. So at this moment, I stay away from a lot of things to be able to really understand what I've been given. And I've been reading the standard deck of cards now for like 4 years, and they're constantly evolving on me. There's sometimes I come to read and I'm like a master. I feel like a master. I know my cards well. But there are other times that I come and I've just experienced something new going on within me. And it's like I'm a novice. I don't know how to read the cards at all. It's such an interesting experience. Sometimes I'm the master, sometimes I'm the novice. And it's really nice because it's not the cards that are changing. Something within me is happening, and it's creating an expansion of the cards. And that is an amazing thing. So I enjoy that a lot. Yeah. Yeah. If I read energy and past life for others, I do read energy. That's what I read, energy. Past life for others. Past life for, as in lives that they've lived before. I don't read lives that they've lived before, but I do read. It depends. Some people think of past life like I could have had how many lives in this lifetime, for example. Maybe 6 or 7. I've been reborn quite a lot of times in this lifetime. So my past lifetimes are still within this lifetime, in this lifetime. I don't know about my other lifetimes, but this lifetime I've been reborn quite a few times. So the past lifetime, what is that relevant? And then the thing is as well, your energy is your energy. Your energy is always your energy. It will be relevant to what you've experienced in past lifetimes, because that is all about, it's all about how we're growing. No, I believe that there's certain traits that will follow us throughout life that are bringing us to understandings to be able to live here in harmony and balance. And they will, experiences will continue from one life to the next until we've learnt those lessons. I'm 25 years old and I want to be a sage, but my parents are against it. So I have decided to run away from home, to move out. Okay. The people pleasers coming out, Abhishek. Just make sure they don't suffer. People suffer because of their own suffering. It's not people that make others suffer. Unless it's a physical action. You're beating someone, that kind of suffering. But mental and emotional suffering, I believe, and I mean, it may be a bit controversial, but I believe it's our own suffering. I was raised in a very difficult household, in an environment that was extremely emotionally deprived. Extremely emotionally deprived. So did it feel like suffering? Hell yeah, it was suffering. But what did that suffering in that environment teach me to be able to grow into? So the suffering only remains if you're not learning from it. The suffering for me is the lesson. It's the giving of a tool. It's the gift that shows you the tool to be able to walk forward with. So other people suffering because he wants to be a sage, why would they suffer? To be a sage is to help people. It's to shine light. It's a beautiful thing, no? But not everybody will always agree with what we want to do. And if we're always waiting for the people around us to be respectful of what we do or to understand what we're doing or why we want to do that, we're not going to move very far. If I waited for the people that are around me to accept what I do, I'd probably still be waiting, because a lot of them don't understand what I do. They understand when I speak, but if once I get the cards, then it's like a lot of people are resistant, because it's like, no. They see it as something, I don't know, voodoo-ish, or I don't know how people see it. But if I'm explaining something verbally, just speaking, then for a lot of people around me, that's okay. But if I start using my cards, then there is a resistance that comes from certain people. So there's this strength and power within each of us that it's okay if people don't understand who you are, what you're about, and what you're wanting to move towards, and why you're wanting to move towards that place. It's okay for people to not understand, but it's not okay for us to not move towards it because they don't understand. And if they suffer because they're in lack of understanding, then they will also get the lessons that they need to come to the understanding. So, Vishu, good luck with your sage. You're new to the past life belief. I was raised very different. It's interesting. Past life beliefs. I was raised Catholic. So I was raised in an environment that you die. That's it. You die, you're put in the ground, and that's it. And if you do anything bad, God punishes you. And if you answer back, God punishes you. God punishes you. You're always in fear. There's always God punishing you. But when I was about 8 years old or something, I had this moment that I felt, it was like I was shown something. I was shown that I was this woman in a previous life, and I had been pregnant multiple times, but I couldn't have a child. I grew up with that belief that this was what was going to happen in my life, and it kind of did to a certain degree. I do have children, but it did present itself as a difficulty. But I grew up with that belief. So despite the fact that I was taught that there is no reincarnation, there is no afterlife, I was shown something different. And for me, it was from the universe that was showing me. It was through God itself, not through the perspective of humans, which is very limited. I am detached from everything. Nice. Physical can be like with money, I mean. Physical is anything physical. The more you are detached to the physical, the easier it is to obtain the physical. You were raised Christian. I even went to Catholic school, and my nan was so Catholic. I had to go catechism. I had to have my first communion. I didn't have my confirmation, but I didn't like any of it. I'm not against religion, but I am not religious. But I'm not against religion. I think everything has everything has its moment. No, everything has a purpose, but I just don't follow it. But this thing that I showed you is actually a proverb. It's from the Bible, even though I don't believe in the Bible. But I like the things that it says. It doesn't matter if it's from the Bible, the Quran, Hinduism. It doesn't matter. When something resonates with you, it shouldn't matter where it's coming from. It should just feel good. You think religion could be a good foundation? When I went and bought this, or I bought this the second time I went to Dominica. When I went to Dominica the first time, I was doing readings. I did come on to do readings, but I mean, the time has gone. It's past my time, so I'm not doing any more readings. But this is interesting conversations. Yeah, I mean, when people are using religion to connect to God, then great. But I think that it's not really about the people that are using. I find religion a really interesting thing. For me, I have my connection to God. But the first time I went to Dominica, I was 25. The first time I went, I did not believe in God. I was raised Catholic, but being raised Catholic taught me that there's nothing. That was my understanding of everything that I was seeing around me. I was taught to fear everything, but everything that was shown to me was in negatives. The house, like I said, that I grew up in was mentally unstable, it was emotionally unstable, it was physically unstable. It was not a good environment for anybody to be in. So I didn't believe in God. But when I went to Dominica, I sat down by myself all the time. I'd go to the river and sit down. I'd go to the beach and sit down. I'd go to just on the mountains and sit down beside a tree. And I would just be there by myself all the time with my pen and paper. And I realized that I was writing a lot, and I realized what I was writing was things about God. And it was like, but how am I writing about God? And I don't believe in God. So it was really interesting. And little by little after that, God just became a bigger part of my life. God, for me, the word God, I don't necessarily connect to so much anymore, because the word God for me, it's kind of like, because I was taught to believe in God, and God is who punishes you, and God is who da-da-da-da. So when I use the word God, I use it because it's easy to understand and for people to connect to. But for me, I prefer universe, source energy, love energy. I prefer that for myself because that makes sense to me. That is everything. God for me, it's like this idea of a thing, but the universe is everything. And for me, the universe is what is creating everything. And when I think of religion, I think of it as needing a middleman to be able to have this connection with the universe, which doesn't make sense to me as such, because we are energetic beings. We are part of the universe. So we shouldn't need something to be able to connect to what we already are. I find that interesting. But I do understand why some people would move in that way, because I know without having done the work that I did, sitting all by myself, it would have been a very difficult journey to get to God, to the understanding of self, to be able to see what I see now. The interesting thing about being around toxic people as well is that you see that people are toxic. We had this discussion. No, was it Tia that? No, it wasn't. Okay, Unicorn. Hey, Unicorn. Yeah, the interesting thing about being around toxic people is that they're teaching you so much about who you are and what you want to be around and what you don't want to be around, and whether you are making the best decisions for yourself. Because if you know people around you are toxic, every time you leave them, you don't feel good, then they're showing you a lot about where you are and what you're willing to give to yourself. Because if you keep putting yourself in these toxic relationships around toxic people, it's clearly showing you that you don't have self-love. You don't have the self-respect. And that's something that is showing you. So they're things to always work on. And I don't see it as, yeah, but you're not doing this and you're not doing that, and like a telling off. If you don't do it, then it's just a matter of incorporating little things into each of your days that help you to get out of not respecting yourself or disrespecting yourself, that help you to get out of going towards these things that feel really comfortable but are not healthy for you. Some people call it God, some people, yeah, it's just a name. It doesn't really matter. It's the idea of it. Am I sure I weren't a follower of Hinduism in my last life? You know what? It's really interesting, because a lot of people say that to me. I don't really know anything about Hinduism. I do have Indian in my family, though. Well, I'm not Indian, but there is Indian in my family, but it's not like they're from India, if that makes sense. There's Indian blood, but I'm blood from everywhere. My dad was white from the UK, as far as I know. And my mum is a mixture of Indian, African, and Chinese. So I am a mixture of all. So I know I've been around for many lifetimes. I'm an old soul. I know I'm an old soul. I can feel I'm an old soul. I'm constantly shown I'm an old soul. So the idea of knowing about different religions or expressing things from different religions makes sense to me, because I've had a lot of experiences. And I sit by myself a lot, and I look at nature a lot. I'm sure Hinduism is a lot about, I don't know, I'm sure, I don't know. I keep saying I'm sure, and I don't know. But like in Buddhism, everything, a lot is reflected in what you see around you. It's in nature, it's in how you view nature, and the lessons that you're learning through nature. And that's what I do. Yesterday I went to the beach, I wrote this little poem. It was so beautiful. I sat there, I was listening to the waves come in, and then I heard in my head, what did I hear? Oh, it's on this phone, I can't get it. As the ripples pass through you, I hear a gentle whisper. Stay calm. Don't fight. Don't force. Simply flow. It was so beautiful. I quickly got my phone out to type it in I didn't have my pen and paper. I like writing on pen and paper. I didn't have, so I quickly got my phone out to put it on my phone. It was so beautiful, and that's what the universe is always doing. It's always giving us these little insights and these beautiful moments of understanding. I've heard of Nirvana. It's the same as I've heard of Hinduism, but I've never studied these things. I don't know anybody that has, I don't know anybody actually that's Hindu. I don't know anybody that's Hindu. So I've not had conversations with people that are Hindu, but I have had conversations with people that say, I speak like a Hindu. I say things like, but I hear that about lots of things. People will talk to me, if I'm talking to a Rasta, they'll tell me, you're a Rasta. I connect to these kind of really indigenous types of ways of being and living, because that's who I am as a person. My life is very simple. I like simple things. I'm not generally, I like material things, but I'm not materialistic. If I don't have them, I don't care. It makes no difference to my life. I like being in nature. I like feeling part of the universe. That's what's important to me. And I know Nirvana, the group. I didn't particularly like their music, though, although they're meant to be like the most amazing thing. But it's preferences. I'm going to do that. When I come off this live, I will listen to Isha's Nirvana song and see what it shares with me. I will do that. Guys, this has been a really beautiful conversation. I do have to go. I have to get ready for work. Other work. And it's been really nice, though. It's been really beautiful. I do come on Mondays, Wednesdays. I always put subtitles when I listen to music, because I don't hear I do hear, but I prefer seeing words so that I don't miss words. Sometimes people don't pronounce things right. Not right. Right is wrong. It depends on your accent, doesn't it? Sometimes people don't pronounce things in a way I understand, and I like writing. But yeah, really interesting conversations. I am on lives to do live readings, not just about conversations, but to do live readings Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, there's pick a card readings. So if you're interested in the pick a card readings, then they are Tuesdays and Thursdays. My page has 1 million pick a card readings. They've gone through my transition of growth. There are some meditations on there. There's a meditation, actually, chakra healing meditation it's called, which is all about, it was when I was experiencing my own inner bully, and I was getting to know her, and I was teaching myself to have a different, I was teaching new subconscious beliefs. I was programming, that's what it is, programming new subconscious beliefs. And that's what this audio is all about. It works through your chakras. You put your hands on the different areas, and the messages that are delivered with these different areas that you put your hands are very specific to that area and helping to clear that particular chakra. It's something that I did for 30 days. I was in a lot of resistance towards it. After like 4 days, it was like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this anymore. And I felt really angry one day, and I had to sit with myself because I couldn't do it. And I was like, okay, so what do we need to do to be able to listen to this? Because I couldn't listen to it without feeling angry. So what do I need to do? And in the audio, everything is affirmations. I am this, I am that. And Bridgitte didn't like the I am. She was like, no, but I mean, you've got the inner bully, you've got this version, you've got this version. There's all these different versions of me. All these different beliefs come with different versions. If I'm having a moment in the Jack, then I'm not feeling confident at all in who I am. If I'm having a moment in the Queen, then I'm explosive and angry. So they have all these different versions, and I changed what I said from I am to we are. And it made a difference. I was able to do the 30 days using we are. And what it did was, within me, it started to create this binding of these different parts of myself wanting to work together, wanting to feel connected to something more than just itself. So it was like the beginning of the insides of me coming together. So it's a very nice audio. If you're interested, take a look. But there's so many different things on. Do you listen to affirmations while sleeping? It is effective. Affirmations while sleeping? No. I did listen to affirmations occasionally, though. I did listen to these affirmations that I created. But what I used to listen to, not while sleeping, but before I went to sleep, what I used to listen to and what I'm attracted to is shamanic drumming. I think I was a shaman at some point in my lifetime. I think I've been a witch at some point in a lifetime. I've been all of these kind of things in lifetimes. So I really like the shaman drumming. It really, I don't know what it does. It's like I hear it, and then all of a sudden I'm transported into a tent, and I've got these kind of people around me kind of, "Hey!" and drumming on their drum, "Hey!" and putting smoke everywhere. And it's kind of like this idea of, I don't know, it's a bit trancey, it's a very interesting experience. And that happens quite a lot when I'm listening to that type of music. I'm going to give you one other thing before I go, because it just relates to that shamanic drumming. You feel that there are different versions for you. Yeah, I believe that the different beliefs that we have create different versions of ourselves, and that different versions of ourselves are different personalities. So there are different versions of ourselves. So one day, my last thing before I leave you, I was in my bathroom. And this goes back to Vishu. I was talking earlier about the way the universe speaks to us. That was when you first come on and you didn't like what I was saying. you were like, what you want about? What you want about? Who are you? So this is about the way that we receive messages sometimes. And I don't necessarily know what the message was, but I know what I saw. So one day I was in my bathroom and I was looking down, and I saw a Native American. It was a Native American it was a beautiful man. He was so beautiful. And it's just a little picture on my tiles. There's not a picture on my tiles. It's just what I was seeing on the tiles. And he had this beautiful headdress. He was amazing. And when I was looking at him, I heard the word Hichimancha. And I was like, what's that? What's Hichimancha? So I quickly went to write it down so that I could check it out at some point, because I was in the bathroom. So it was like, once I finished getting myself all ready, I went back and checked what I'd written down and then Googled Hichimancha. And what came up was Chittimancha. The only difference was it had a C in the front. It was exactly the same word, but with a C in the front. And as Chittimancha popped up, what pops up? A Native American tribe from Louisiana. So, woo! I've never heard of these people. I don't know anything about them, but I was shown this amazing man in his headdress that was from the Chittimancha tribe, but I'd never heard of the Chittimancha tribe. And even now, I've heard of them because I Googled it. But everything that I wanted to investigate, I even sent an email because I wanted to investigate them more. And that it was like, I felt that, well, why am I being shown this if I'm not meant to do anything? Maybe it's for another time or later on in my lifetime, God knows. But it was a very interesting experience. I was shown something, and then when I researched it, it was actually what I'd seen. And I feel that many times we're shown things, and many times we doubt the things that we're shown. Or, for example, I saw this Native American man on my tiles, and for me, because I heard something as well, I went to research it. I think for a lot of people, though, they would see this man, they would ignore, or what would happen was they'd see the man and then, or just ignore it. But most times we see something and we can accept we're seeing something, but then the mind would be like, oh, it's a da-da-da-da-da, and the mind would be so busy that it doesn't actually get the chance to hear the message that come with the vision. So mine was the Hichimancha. And then on top of the receiving the two things and having them two things, actually going to investigate them things, I think most people would not take them steps. And in the process of not taking these steps, you're not strengthening your intuition, because your intuition is there. It's a muscle and it needs to be strengthened. And every time we take an action that moves us towards strengthening it, it becomes stronger. So that's my little bit of advice to leave you with. When you do see signs, trust in the signs that you're seeing. Trust in the message that it offers. Trust in what you feel about it, and move in a direction that you feel is right for you, that resonates with you. The Nirvana song. I'm going to check out the Nirvana song. Yeah. Yeah. What was the song? Aisha. Where did you write it? There it is. Let me write it. Got my piece of paper. Where's my pen? There it is. Aisha Nirvana. All right. I'm going to check that out now as I come off here. All right. I'll be back on Monday for some new free live readings. Guys, thank you so much for this very entertaining afternoon that you have given me. I thank you a lot. It's been very entertaining, very interesting. I've got a lot of, I'm sure tonight my mind will be like popping into different parts of the conversations we've had today. And so, give me new little perspectives. I didn't see it like that. That's interesting. I'll come back to you on Monday. I was shown this. I was shown this about karma. I was shown this about something else. We'll see. But thank you. It has been delightful. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye.